Hi everybody and welcome back to the Brazilian Percussion Project. As I've told you in the previous video, this channel is all about sharing with you guys all of the knowledge I have been gathering over the years about Brazilian music and more specifically about Brazilian percussion. So the first instrument I've decided to talk to you about is this one here, the timbal. I've chosen to talk about timbal first because besides being my favorite instrument among them all, this is also a very interesting instrument, and I say interesting because it concentrates many different elements, many different sounds from other instruments that we have here in Brazil. And that's why it became such a versatile and powerful instrument. Bottom line, you could play any rhythm with timbal, from any style we have here in Brazil, exactly because it has these so many possibilities, so many sounds that we can use. So timbal is not a very old instrument. In fact, it was created somewhere around the late 70s and the early 80s, and it helped defining one of the most important musical and cultural movements in Brazil, of the history of Brazil. It became known as Axé music. It happened in Bahia, and it had a very happy, very upbeat kind of music. It was very related to carnival parties. And it was a kind of a music that had the main goal of entertaining people. It was happy, it was upbeat, and people wanted to dance to it. It became really popular throughout Brazil, and at a certain point, it also became popular abroad, with names like Carlinhos Brown, who was one of the creators of this instrument, but also Daniela Mercury, Ivete Sangalo, Olodum, among others. And although this instrument is not very old, its origins go way back in time to Africa. In fact, most of the rhythm patterns that we have here in Brazil, they came from the percussion, the African percussion tradition. The rhythms they used to do there in the rituals, in the tribes, I mean, these are the rhythms that we use nowadays, not only to Axé music, but to Brazilian music in general. If we talk about samba, if we talk about Axé music, maracatu, ijexá, all of these rhythms, they're rooted in African culture and obviously African music. So yeah, although this is a new instrument, a relatively new instrument, its lineage go way back in time. And the grandfather of the timbal, in fact, is this guy here. It's called the djembe. And the djembe is an African instrument, but if we look to them, I mean, they're not very different among each other. The construction is a little different. It's made of wood, and the head is made out of leather, animal leather, while the timbal is made of metal most of the times, and the top is made of plastic. But besides that, besides these little differences, they are quite similar, and the techniques are quite similar, the techniques that we use to play them. And one of the most important things about either djembe or timbal or the congas, that are these two here, is that they are hand drums. It means that we use our bare hands to play them. Whenever we think about percussion, the first thing that comes to mind is drumsticks, right? We think about a drummer. He's always using the drumsticks. But when we're talking about hand drums, we're not using sticks. And it's a very interesting thing because the feel you get when you're playing with your bare hands, this is kind of awesome. And we're going to talk about this feeling later on. We are going to talk about how does it feel to play hand instruments. It's going to be, we're going to talk about it in a next video. It's important to understand that when we talk about these African rhythms, these African patterns, we are talking about rhythms that used to be playing on the djembe back 500 years ago, 1,000 years ago. I mean, it's a long tradition that we have here. I mean, these rhythms used to be played in rituals, right? In fact, in African-based religions, the music played a very important role in these rituals. In fact, these connections between the human realm and the spiritual realm was made through music, and most specifically by percussion. So this is a very important thing to know. Obviously, we're going to talk about it more specifically in the next videos. But for now, I would like you guys really to think about it, right? I mean, the things we're playing here, they used to be sacred rhythms back in old civilizations, and this is a very important thing to know about. The main motivation I had to choose the timbal as the first instrument to talk about here on the channel is that I wanted to bring you guys something useful, something versatile, something that you could use to play different rhythms, different styles of Brazilian music. And nowadays, timbal does just that, right? You name it, in every style, every rhythm, if it's something upbeat, if it's something that needs a percussion with some attack, with some intensity, you're going to find timbal there. It had really overcome the barriers of Axé music. And don't get me wrong, in the beginning, it was very related to Axé music, right? I mean, the kind of sound, because it was created there in that context, you could find it only there. But nowadays, people discovered it's very versatile and it can bring this, this strength to the song. If it's a dancing song, if it's music that needs something to really mark the beat, timbal is really a way to go. And you can find it in almost every band of pop music, of popular music in Brazil. You're going to find a timbal there. But as a matter of fact, what brought me to play timbal, to play percussion in the first place, wasn't the possibility of playing in bands in these very professional contexts, but rather it was to play with people on the squares, on the streets, right? In the carnival groups. I mean, here in Brazil, but not only in Brazil, there are many groups that gather to play percussion, to play music from Bahia, to play music from Rio de Janeiro. And these are the so-called baterias, which are music, percussion, ensembles, groups that gather themselves. And most of these groups aren't professionals. I mean, the possibility of having a good time with friends, playing just for the fun of it, right? Just to have some fun, just to have a good time. I mean, this is just amazing. This is one of the things I like the most about learning and teaching this amazing instrument, not only the timbal, but the other instruments that are available here. So, I mean, this is one of the most interesting things we have. And as far as I know, there are bands, there are groups, carnival groups that play music from Bahia. I mean, in many countries. I mean, in your country, you're probably going to find a place to play it if you learn it correctly. So, if you like this video and you want to see more of this content about Brazilian music, about Brazilian percussion, make sure to subscribe to this channel, make sure to like this video, and we are going to see each other again in the next video. Ciao, ciao!